Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I do feel like old home week because I feel like I know almost everybody on the Zoom. So I really, that just feels so nice and welcoming. We are going to talk about this upcoming series. It's really exciting. It's the first time we've done something quite like this, although we're building on some past work. It's a three-part action series, and we're calling it Strengthening Dual Enrollment. And it is co-sponsored by and funded by the LA Regional Consortium, and Career Ladders Project is helping out. So let's go to the next slide, and we can start our rounds of introductions. I'm Naomi. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the Chief Program Officer at Career Ladders Project, and Kylie.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kylie Campbell, and I'm a director with Career Ladders Project. And Jerry?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Moore. I'm the Senior Program Associate supporting today.
Fantastic. And then if we can go to the next slide, we can have our LARC colleagues introduce themselves. Narne?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Narina McKeegan, Chair Assistant Vice President of the Los Angeles Regional Consortium. Welcome. And I'll turn it over to Mark.
Great. I'm Mark Banaj, and I am the K-14 Technical Assistance Provider, so help to support all to bridge the K-12s and the colleges. So.
Fantastic, fantastic. And then on the next slide, we have our agenda for today.
We forgot to introduce Gray. So Gray.
I am so sorry.
Gray,
Apologies.
go for
Gray,
it.
Please.
No worries at all. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gray Reiko, and I'm the Grant Project Coordinator for the Los Angeles Regional Consortium. Great to be with you.
Gray is more than a logo. Much more, much more. And great. So we're gonna have a welcome in just a second. We're gonna give like a brief overview of what this series is about. We're gonna go into the session topics. We're gonna do a special call out about coaching, talk about the participant commitment, have a question and answer session, and then we also have a sign up form for folks. So let's go right over into the welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you, Naomi, and thank you for giving me this space. Mark, Gray, and I are so excited to officially be able to kick off this LARC Strengthening Dual Enrollment three-part series. And when Naomi said this is kind of the first time, well, LARC likes to lead the way. So we're excited that nobody else is doing anything as creative as this. And I got to give credit where credit is due. Kylie is just exceptional. And she knows that we're always looking for ways to enhance this work and comes up with such great ways to do it collaboratively together and to develop a plan for our region. So we are forever grateful for this partnership, but it truly represents us really working together to make sure that we strengthen the collaboration and K-14 pathway alignment. Because all of us know here, it just is providing equitable access to higher education for our communities. And we have a lot of underserved and underrepresented communities. And so this is just more than just a project for us. It's truly an investment for the future of our students and our communities. And I do really want to thank Career Ladders Project for their expertise and partnership. And of course, all of you for the commitment that you're making to do this work and the day-to-day work that you do to ensure success for our students and our learners. So we are very, very excited about the impact of this initiatives, and it will definitely support everyone across the region. And we look forward to working with all of you and making sure that you have all the resources needed to enhance dual enrollment and to expand it as much as possible. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Fantastic. And we will, Career Ladders loves working with LARC, but I'll turn it over to Kylie to give us kind of an overview.
Thank you, Naomi. And thank you so much for the kind shout out, Dr. McKeegan. I too love working with LARC, and I see several familiar names and faces on the call. I've had the pleasure over the last few years of working side by side with K-12 and college teams in the Dual Enrollment Pathway Institute. So I want to echo Dr. McKeegan in saying that Lark is innovative and always there to respond to the needs of the region. And through the Institute, we realized what value there would be in a larger coaching projects to support our colleges with such a large region, 19 colleges, and so many high school partners. Many of you are struggling with the same barriers in dual enrollment. And then many of your students and partners are having to navigate processes across multiple college because some of you share, right? And so just bringing that alignment, but not just putting that out there as a charge or an assignment, right? But this isn't a supportive community that we're building together. And so CLP alongside Lark, just bringing you a series of workshops that are embedded with support with CLP so that at the end, the entire region comes out stronger and ahead in dual enrollment and serving our students. So I'm very pleased to be here, very pleased to be in this work. And I think that what Dr. Castro and Dr. McKeegan have come up with here today in this contract and project is just really with all of you at the center and the needs of your institutions and your students. So what we will have for you are 3 in-person sessions. We know there's so many Zooms and it's really hard to be present and to engage and ask the questions you need while we're going over really important content with you that again, we don't want just to be giving assignments and talking at you. This should be something that your institutions and partners are growing from. So we'll get together 3 times. There will be up to 10 colleges represented in the project so that we have enough time to meaningfully connect with each of you and support you through this process. We're really looking at when we were discussing who should be part of this, cross-sectional teams are essential. Those of you who are the cheerleader and in the weeds in dual enrollment on your side know that we don't even really just fit in one side of the house or the other, right? But academic affairs, student services, we know we need our business office. There are so many different hands at play in dual enrollment, and to truly grow and to support dual enrollment as a program, we need those cross-sectional teams reaching from admissions to counseling, outreach, all the way into the business office, right? If you're struggling with fees or any sort of buying your textbooks, your bookstore. So what these teams might look like might vary by site, but we do want that cross-sectional collaboration. And then there is this expectation of please engage actively as we are working on these collaborative activities and planning with your teams. For example, those of you who know me well know I love my spreadsheets, I love data. And so we are going to have opportunities for you to engage, and we know that it's a time commitment, but as we engage using these tools and resources, we really believe that you and your institutions will get the best out of it if you are present and engaging and completing the activities that we prepare. But you're not alone in doing that. We are here to do that with you, as I have done with the Institute, and I'm very excited to work on this project. So thank you for having me, and I think I turn it back over to Dr. Castro at this point.
Yes, thank you. And we will tag team a little bit here and
Great.
ping pong a little bit maybe. And if we can go to the next slide, please, Jerry. So big overview. And again, this is building on some of the awesome work that we've done together. And you know CLP, you know Lark, we're partnerships, partnerships, partnerships. Sometimes institutions need a little bit of space to kind of get their ducks in a row and do some internal work. And so that's really what this series is going to be about. So as much as we love, respect, and honor our K-12 partners, this series is just for colleges. And so when we say a cross-sectional team, we mean across departments within the college, not across institutions. So this is just an internal college event because we need some special love. We need some special attention. So the first session will be a grand introduction to the whole series. And really, we're going to start talking about communication, how we communicate, what are our processes, what are the things that we have built in? Are we being reactive, proactive? Are we are we scheduling things? Are we making it part of a normal system and a regular cadence of the academic year? How are we doing that? And how are we being clear? And so that's going to take up a fair bit of time. And we want to streamline, we don't want communication to be a burden. We also want to make sure that it's not just a one-way street, of course. And so we're going to kind of figure out those kinds of things together. And then we're going to start talking about addressing access. And so it would be communications with our partners, but also with students, like the grand scheme of communications. And then we're going to start teeing up the access gap uh, tool and how we're going to access that and how we're going to use that and train up our own folks on how to do that. Session 2 is going to be really digging into that participation and recruitment. How do we assess participation? And we know that a lot of that starts with the enrollment process. How many students end up not participating because the enrollment process is daunting, or also we don't want to just burn out our own staff when the enrollment process is very burdensome. So how do we do that in a way that we're being in compliance, we're getting all the information that's needed and all the permissions and all the sign-offs that are needed, but we're also not just, burning ourselves out by working twice as hard. So yay for that one. And then we're also going to talk about current legislation and how folks are approaching that legislation, or current legislative changes. There's been some recent ones. This has a lot of our partners, very curious, and especially about the potential of working with other colleges aside from their home college. And so how do we be good partners through that process? How do we, again, maintain effective communication? And then what are some of the really strong approaches that we're seeing partnerships develop to when they have these kind of sticky conversations? So yeah, so that one I'm super excited about. I'm excited about all of them. And then finally, we're going to talk about our agreements and our policies. And so we're really going to dig into that. So if you're a bit of a policy geek like I am, like I think Kylie is, Jerry's a little bit of a policy geek too. So we're going to jump into that and swim through those policies and look at where we might see what constraints we might have, what aligns with ed code, what is college specific, and how, if there's any areas within there that we can streamline things for students or make things easier for students and families. Kylie, is there anything you would like to add to any of that?
No, I know we'll go in more details on the next slide, so I'll add it there.
Okay, cool. So let's look at each one of these sessions in a little bit more detail. Oh, Kimberly, great question. So Kimberly asked, what's the ideal size of the cross-sectional team? I think that really depends on how you are set up. So it would probably be the folks who are most immediately working on dual enrollment. But we are going to have sessions and also some coaching. We'll talk about that in a minute, where it's very appropriate to bring in other folks. So at some point, you might want to bring in your researcher or whoever's assigned to research at your college, especially if you have a data dashboard for dual enrollment or you're exploring doing that. At some point, you need to bring in A&R, right? So if you are able to secure an A&R partner for the whole time, awesome. We're also going to kind of direct you to when A&R should be there in particular. And then, some teams work very closely with outreach. Some teams work very closely with counseling. There might be a particular department, a faculty member, maybe a faculty lead, who is really excited about dual enrollment and might even have some assigned time. Like, ooh, that would be awesome, right? So I think it depends on your team. Kylie, did you want to add to that? I say in a way that's not like really a question, like Kylie, please add to that.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfectly that each session, thinking about who you will need, we recognize that if you are working on dual enrollment at your college or you're the dean or the vice president over dual enrollment with a million different hats, that this takes an army. And so if you're coming to, I'd say session one, we really built this in mind of you and your closest team and who's working on dual enrollment. And then through either the coaching or in preparation for the next two topics, there are others that you might want to have come to just one of the sessions or the remaining two sessions. Your researcher is a great example. Your admissions lead for the enrollment process. We know you might have your go-to as to who does the enrollment on the admissions team, but having, if it's a different dean or a different vice president, even bringing them in from that level, because if we're going to talk policy and removing barriers and any changes, we really just need all those teams represented. So we can go over this in the coaching in between sessions as well and help you identify who should be present.
I mean, and one thing that just is perfect lead into the first session where we really talk a lot about communication because there's communication with our high school partners, right? And how incredibly important that is. Um, and I mean, of course, we'll even have a bucket for like miscommunication or, like where when we miss each other and we think we're being clear, but we might not be speaking the same language. And then there's also internal communication, right? And so often when we find tremendous growth, like we have been seeing at a college for dual enrollment, and maybe some pushback on the part of some of the faculty, maybe some of the staff. It's often because they really didn't realize that this was growing or that this was a big thing. So they kind of don't know what's happening with it. And then all of a sudden it seems like there's tons of dual enrollment. They're like, wait a minute. And they haven't had time to adjust to that. They didn't see it coming. They didn't know what was happening. So I really, I'm excited about the opportunity for internal communication as well. And, certainly a lot of times folks who are over dual enrollment have to work with so many different academic departments, and yet our coordinators or our directors, our deans, we don't have like authority over the other departments, right? But we're asking them for things to support this effort. So how do we make those kinds of communications happen as well? So tons and tons of communication. The primary communication will be with your high school partner. That's what we'll be focusing on, but I'd love to be able to touch all these other areas as well. And we're going to give you some tools, maybe some conversation guides, some, like thinking about again, the natural cadence of the academic year. Did you want to add anything, Kylie?
No.
All right, let's go on to number 2. And why don't you talk about that one?
Yes, session 2 is going to be quite packed. So 2 topics in session 2. First, assessing your student participation. We will introduce you to the Dual Enrollment Access Gap tool that was created by CLP. This is a great tool to look at who's participating and who's not participating in dual enrollment, to have some meaningful conversations about who the students that are not being reached, whether that's through current outreach methods or if it's the offerings that are or are not being offered. So it's really put some context to who your dual enrollment students are and who the students are that you would like to reach. So we'll go over resources available and promising practices informing whether that's new pathways, new courses, or leading into the enrollment process, streamlining that enrollment process so that your students, especially your students who might be furthest from opportunity, are not those who are missing out on participation because of those barriers. So, right in hand with that, I know the enrollment process is one of the largest barriers for our students. And so as we get into topic 3, we'll go through what your application and enrollment processes are. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to is thinking of any of your students or your high schools that do have to partner, or not have to, but have the opportunity to partner across multiple colleges. And when there's such different processes opportunities to streamline to make that make sense for the students. Also updating towards new policies, new legislation that make the enrollment process easier. But often we struggle with how to implement that. So going through that and strategies for implementing, for example, the one-time parent approval, right? That we've had that at our disposal for years, and yet each of us have been left on our own to implement and to find a way to implement and change our processes. Um, Going through a plan, I love tackling a problem, and so I want this enrollment process topic to also not just address what those problems are and put them on a paper, because we do that all the time, but actually making a plan to improve those. So again, this is where it's really important to have anyone from your college who would be able to help you improve the application and process and be a champion with you. Bringing them to this session will be really important. So session 2, there'll be a lot going on, but I'll be sharing with you shortly how we'll also support you in between sessions with our coaching.
And session 3, hooray, the agreements. So I think many of you on this Zoom have participated in cohort 1 or 2 of the Pathways implementation series, and that was like really fantastic. And so you've touched your agreements, you've dug into them, right? So this is another opportunity to do that. For anyone who hasn't done that, this is like yummy stuff, right? So we'll go look through our CCAP agreements, also non-CCAP agreements. If you have those, bring them. Old-fashioned MOUs, they're still fantastic. You can still do that legally. It's not a problem. They have different, criteria, different legal parameters. And so we're also going to, kind of look at these agreements with an eye to, is there anything in here that is slowing students down? Is there anything in here that's a barrier to students unintentionally? And how might we kind of work through that? And then we're going to, provide some examples, right? And that's always nice to see how other partnerships are doing it. And we'll have really intense Q&A sessions. So really, like if there's folks on your team who haven't had an opportunity to go through the agreements yet, or I'm thinking if you might have, maybe you have some leadership turnover, and you might have a dean, a vice president, somebody who is interested in dual enrollment. They meet with their high school partners, but they haven't really kind of dug into the nitty gritty of it. This might be a great session to bring them to as well. And then there's our agreements, but then there's our policies as a college or college district. And so we can dig into those policies as well. I know that that's a big area where colleges and districts have been really, really looking at their policies. We want to make sure that the policies are in alignment with education code, so we're not doing anything that's contrary to the law. And also, but that's only so far, right? That's like being in compliance is one thing, but then being a good partner, being really opening doors for students and removing barriers is a step beyond that. So like, how close can we get to there? So I'm like super excited about that session too. And then we have coaching. Kylie, could you talk about coaching a little bit? And yeah, there we go. Thanks, Terry.
Of course, it's one of my favorite parts of the project. We have up to 10 hours of coaching, and 5 hours of those are required. And this is, excuse me, individual coaching for your colleges and for your teams in between the sessions. Well, before and in between the sessions. So you will be meeting with either Naomi or myself for 1 hour prior to session 1, so that we can have strategic conversations about what you're looking to get out of this project, who you should include in the first session, and any of your questions and barriers that you're facing at your institution. And then we also want to meet with your college researcher. I think that might be after session one. That might be a typo.
That I will make that correction right now.
Sorry, I did not catch that. I did review these, so that was my bad. So this will be a 1 hour session after the first session and before the second session. So me connecting with a college researcher so that I don't present the access gap to everyone and get glazed eyes and, oh no, I don't want to do this and this is terrible. Trust me, when I meet with researchers, we're speaking the same language, we'll get the data. That way you just have pretty graphs to look at and interpret in our discussions. So we'll meet between session 1 and 2 for that. And then we will debrief once the tool has been completed for you. And so that debrief on the data findings, that might vary depending on how much time it takes to get your data and any issues we encounter or questions you have. So we will debrief on your data findings at some point during the project, but it may not fall specifically between certain sessions. And then before session 2, we will also, this could be before or after session 2, I'm going to say. So we will also do a 1 hour coaching with your A&R leads and representatives so that we can take a deep dive into any questions you have, barriers you have, changes you might be looking at making. And then after we conclude the series, all of our teams will have a debrief session with us. So I don't know how many of you have been out there and feeling on this lone ship of dual enrollment and you need help, you need coaching, you need support. Well, LARC has provided it for you. And that is what is just so amazing about this project is that them funding these coaching hours, up to 10 hours of coaching, doesn't sound like a lot, but you can do a lot with 10 hours of support from Career Ladders Project and from LARC. So please, please utilize all 10 of these hours. This is, again, working with you one-on-one is what we love to do best. So if you use it, you will get the most out of this project. Naomi, is there anything you'd like to add on the coaching?
Just that it's just kind of giving us a little heads up, like scheduling is always challenging. We know that. We're not going to let this fall through the cracks. Like we're going to do it, right? And so if we all kind of put that in our mindset, like I will be the master of my calendar, like just to make sure we will get it. We'll get it and it'll be so helpful. And also this is area colleges, right? So I'm always looking for an excuse to get out of my house and so some of these potentially could be in person. Let's just see. And that was definitely dictated by the calendar. Jerry, could you do me a favor? Stop sharing, refresh, and then share again because I made those 2 changes to that slide. And so I want the recording to show it.
Sorry
And just
about
like
that.
our sessions, we make adjustments in real time, right? Stephanie's laughing.
Here we go.
Thank you. Look, see, made the changes. All right, cool. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And this is just a commitment, right? So, you don't need to bring your A&R person to every session. You don't need to bring your researcher to every session. You can, like, that would be super awesome and welcome. But you and your immediate team need to come to every session. And we know you may notice that there are no session dates out here. And that's because we want to assemble the folks who are ready to make this commitment, who are interested in it, and meet the criteria. And then we will poll you so that we find the best dates possible. So I'm excited about that too. Of course, the coaching is more flexible in terms of, when we're going to meet and how we're going to meet. But we just really wanted to emphasize that it is a commitment and it's worth it. And then also part of that commitment is to just really actively engage when you're in the sessions. There will be homework, there will be things to bring and things to engage in, and there will be wrestling. Um, mentally, no physical wrestling, but mental wrestling with challenges. And we're just going to all commit to bring our best selves and our best, most creative thinking to that. Kylie, anything to add to that?
I like the mental and creative wrestling.
Yeah, it's how we grow, right? All right, cool. So now is our Q&A time. So let's just open it up.
did have a question. Um, just bear with me. I'm turning on oh, sorry, I didn't use the raise hand feature.
No,
Kimberly,
no
if you want to
worries.
go
Go for
first.
it.
Okay. Sorry, Kimberly. So I did get approached by one of our LARC representatives, in terms of participating in the session. However, there was concerns of not knowing, I guess, if we had to also work, was it more of a community college? Where like me and my team as a community college, we join the sessions, or is it community college district partner with the specific high school that we work with, and then both of our districts attend? So I think there was a little bit of questions that I had that I asked the LARC partner. So they said they would get back to me. So I haven't filled out the form because of that reason.
So let me make sure I understand your question.
Mhm.
Uh, you're asking if you bring a high school partner or no?
So that's what was informed to me
Gotcha.
from LARC,
Yeah.
that we were supposed to select a high school. Eh, Okay,
Not for this one. So we
not for
also
this
have,
one. Okay.
we do have another opportunity, that's
Okay.
the Pathways Institute that Kylie runs. That
Okay.
one is for call teams. Well, Kylie, why don't you talk about this one is just colleges. This is like we're
Okay.
getting our
That's good to know.
internal ducks in a row. This is the ducks in a
Okay.
row one. Kylie, will you talk about the institute for a second?
Yes, so the Institute is designed for a community college team and a high school district team to come
Okay.
together and design and implement a pathway. This is taking things back to the college side and that internal ongoing of the college and the needs and clarifying processes and communication and removing barriers from just the college side. So creating a very safe space, because working on that college side, we know we need to get, as Naomi said, our ducks in order. We need to get everything in a line so that we can present that out to our partners in a strong and clear way. And so we are here to support on the college side to make that happen.
Okay.
Oh, and
Yeah.
The
Naomi has
ducks.
a rubber
There
duck.
we
I
go.
have
There we
so
go.
many ducks in my office.
And if we did want to participate in that Pathway Institute, given that I think that was what they were referring to,
Yes.
would the high school itself have to be in agreement that they also want to participate?
Yes.
Okay.
So what
Sounds
we
good.
start with is the agreement. There is a collaboration agreement for the
Mm-hmm.
institute that needs to be agreed upon by both the college and the high school district. So if a
Okay.
district has not necessarily selected which of their high schools will participate, we do need agreement from the district and the college.
Okay.
And then identifying the high school and the pathway will be part of the institute.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Kimberly.
Thanks. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding clearly. LARC is sponsoring this, which means it's no cost to the colleges to participate. So this is just like free professional development to help make it better. Sign West up, we're there.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? So I think Sitlali, what you put in the chat is oh, you put a couple of things. That's great. Thank you. You put the Pathways Institute, which is the partners, right? But then we also have, actually, maybe we can switch to that slide, Jerry. We have so you all did a sign up sheet for this session here, but we have like a sign up sheet for the actual three event series. So that the links. We can also make sure we follow up and send this out to everyone, so that everybody has that. So this is like, yep, I'm doing it. Here's my college. Here's me. Here's the other people I'm gonna bring with me. Are there more questions, or what wonderings might you have? I'm just going to call some folks' name because I'm feeling like an elementary school teacher. This is just an invitation. You don't have to accept it. We've got Kathleen, we've got Sasha, We've got Maida.
All right, Naomi, it's Kathleen. Hello.
Hello.
I see Mark laughing. No, I love this. I think it's a great idea. I'm super happy to hear Dean Mannard jump on, and yes, absolutely, we'll sign up. And it's just a matter of getting the departments to join in for the appropriate 1, 2, 3 series. Looking
Fantastic.
forward to it, especially, love the A&R piece.
Yeah, I'm down the hall. Next door to me is our VP of Academic Affairs. Next door to him is Student Services. West will be there in force. I'm going to go
Woo!
talk to them after this. So
That's great. And then we're also going to, so we're going to poll everyone to see, what dates make sense. What we were thinking of was like 2 sessions in the fall and one in the spring, because we don't want to cram too much into the fall. Also, everyone, we're all flexible, right? So that may shift as we're polling people. It may be 1 session in the fall and 2 in the spring. We'll just see how it works. Jessica wrote in from the rural areas, sometimes lack of awareness on best strategies to work collaboratively on pathway development. Brilliant.
I'll say something too. I just want to thank you guys
Yeah.
for doing something college specific. We love working with our K-12 partners, but sometimes you just need to have like really honest college conversations. And so we appreciate the opportunity. Stephanie and I were already messaging. We're gonna bring out as many people from the team that we can from A&R. Kylie, we'll get Amber out there too, so she can do some data stuff.
Fantastic.
Good. Any chance to hang out with Amber?
It's funny. I was on the same wavelength as Sasha because that's CCMC. I had another college approach me. He's like, we need like a closed doors college meeting where we can discuss all these things, which this is starting to feel like a great opportunity to just closed door college meeting, have a lot of discussion. So this sounds really great.
And certainly a lot of you and a lot of our colleagues and Kylie and I have a lot of experience in K-12. So sometimes, folks working in dual enrollment on the college side might not. And then the questions might, not be the most sensitively worded, or they might, like we need a space where we can say, why do they do this? And then we can talk it through without being, that we're putting any of our partners on the back foot. Why do they do it that way?
Stephanie and I were both K-12, so we also
You know.
question a lot of things too.
Why do we do it that way? Yeah, totally. I used to tell folks the first time you make you go to meet your high school partner, and the first time, this is back in the olden days, go to their site and bring a couple reams of copy paper. It's the olden days. We're not so paper dependent anymore. Are there other questions that folks might have? For our LARC colleagues, is there anything that you wanted to add in, or is there anything we might have missed?
No, I just think this is such an exciting opportunity, but I also like, the flexibility and adaptability of the way it's been framed. So if a community college needs to do it a certain way or needs to bring in their teams at a certain point, that there are those opportunities. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this evolves and continuing to support the work.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have our core. Our core comes to all three. And then we have, as needed, the other folks. The other folks are welcome to attend all three too. Yes, we will share. Thank you, Maricela. We will share the deck and the recording. Yeah. Kimberly, did you have another question?
I do. Sorry, let me divert that phone call. Will it be where will it be in LA proper, or where are we thinking of holding this?
I don't know that we've decided that. I think it might depend a little bit on who signs up, right?
Okay, great.
Of course, we'll probably get, people from as wide across the Los
Right, Palm
Angeles as
Desert and
possible.
us, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we can meet at my house. And I was telling somebody, and we're of course aware of LA traffic patterns. I was telling somebody, if you want all the colleges there, you cannot start a meeting before 10 a.m. because somebody's going to run into rush hour and you have to end by 2. We have
Question
a
in
win.
the chat, Naomi.
Oh,
When is
thank
the
you.
deadline to submit the interest form?
Oh gosh, you know what? We didn't decide that. I'd say as soon as possible. Would it make sense for us to have till the end of the month since we're coming up on the end of the month anyway? Yeah, let's say the end of the month. Um, Jessica, I appreciate that, but the coaching sessions can be virtual, but the in-person sessions are the 2-hour sessions are going to be in person. Um, but we might come to you. Let's see who where folks land in our map. All right, RHC. Woohoo. Okay, I think with that, we'll do a follow-up when the Zoom is recorded or is posted. We'll send out that link. We'll also send out the deck. We turn the deck into a PDF, but all the links will be live in there. And then we'll send that out and you'll be hearing from us very soon.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.